So this is my website. I did it over the state of Colorado. So first off, you see my introduction or my welcome statement. I kept it relatively short just because I didn't want to go as in depth and because I feel like long intros probably bore people. But I'll give you all the backstory. So I chose Colorado because back in April I visited Colorado and it was just absolutely beautiful. It was supposed to be for like learning purposes over their capital and all of that. But all I learned was that Colorado is just like the prettiest place on earth. We visited like a couple of refuges where we got to see like bisons and prairie dogs and deer and a lot of different like bird species. I didn't know there was a lot of bird species in Colorado. And then we went to the Red Rock Canyon and we did a hike where I learned that I am insanely out of shape from literally just a year of not playing soccer anymore. And we also went to we did like a scenic route through Gold Camp Road, which is absolutely stunning, and like the top led you to Helen Falls. Basically, I fell in love with the scenery of Colorado, which is why I chose to do it in my welcome statement. It's just thanking people for taking the time to visit my site and also just explaining that I chose Colorado because of how pretty it is and that I hope that this page makes them feel the same way. So right below, you see the map of Colorado. And then under that is the infographic that I just got done doing. So I included a couple of facts. Obviously, I had to include mountains because you cannot talk about Colorado without including mountains. I talked about how there are 15 different mountain ranges, how most of the people actually live on the eastern edge of the Rocky Mountains, which is very interesting because that's like almost all of their population. And then Colorado has the largest airport in the United States. I expected it to be California. So I found that super interesting as well. And so my next sub page is the Google Doc flyer we made, I believe, in week 1. If it loads, so it is over their governor, Jared Polis. Oh, and I forgot to show you all this, but the link to the governor's website is like right down there. I don't know if it's being covered right now, but it is there. And then right after that, you learn about the governor, which is Jared Polis. He is a father to 2 kids. He's a husband, a businessman. He's a liberal. He is the founder of Techstars, which is like a big business in technology, and he really values education. He has been the governor of Colorado since 2019. He's really big on the environment, which makes sense because he's the governor of Colorado, which is just full of nature. So obviously you want to take care of that. And then you get a little bit more information regarding Colorado when you click on the Google Sheets. So my Google Sheets was about the different types of jobs people work in Colorado, the different ethnicities, and I believe also about education. I cannot. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just went back again. So it's just a little bit more insight over the famous different landmarks of, not landmarks, but the people of Colorado. Because in my intro, I mentioned how I also fell in love with the people. So this right here actually gives you insight as to what the people really do or what their lives kind of look like, what they're studying, what they work in. And then the final page is the Google Slides you created over, I did mine over Disney coming to Colorado. I named it a Rocky Disney because once again, you cannot talk about Colorado without mentioning the mountains. I mean, the Rocky Mountains are there and they just have so many different mountains and mountain ranges, like the Garden of Gods. I was actually like right across the Garden of Gods when I went, which was absolutely beautiful. It looks really weird from far away, like literally just a bunch of rocks standing. But so again, I mentioned the mountains. I said Disney should come to Colorado because of the mountains. There's already like beautiful scenery in place. They could make the amusement rides go with that, like incorporate them into the mountain ranges. I don't know how much sense that makes. And I also talked about the animals. I think it would be super cool, like if they did like a Snow White themed, and many other reasons that really just completely revolves around the nature that is present in Colorado. This is the presentation I actually did. And so I think the thing I liked the most about this is just how organized it turned out to be. It was not expected, but this was my website over the state of